The NASCAR Cup race has concluded for Martinsville Speedway, and what looked like it was going to be a win for Ford and Stewart-Haas Racing turns out to be another win for Hendrick Motorsports. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Cup Series race in Martinsville Speedway, the NOCO 400. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So, before the green flag drop in today's race, only one driver had to go to the rear of the field, and that was Joe Logano for unapproved adjustments due to a leak in the water tank. He's the only one that went to the rear of the field. So at the start of the race, you have Ryan Preece lead the field from the inside with Daniel Suarez on the outside, and Ryan Preece is able to clear for the race lead and would completely dominate and basically dominate the early portions of stage number one. A lot of beating banging was going on, especially near the end of stage one, when you had Eric Almirola and Daniel Suarez battling for second position, but it would not matter, and Ryan Preece would easily come off the corner and win stage number one at Martinsville. All the cars that come down pit road after that, with Ryan Preece winning the race off of pit road. Daniel Suarez ended up gaining a bunch of spots on pit road, and Chase Briscoe lost a ton of positions. Then a couple people got speeding penalties. Kyle Busch and Chris Buescher got penalties for equipment interference, and Ty Dillon for speeding on pit road. So then on the restart, Ryan Preece lead the field from the inside with Daniel Suarez on the outside, and Ryan Preece able to clear Daniel Suarez for the race lead. There's a little bit of uncertainty on the radio that Eric Almirola's tire had basically not gotten tight and it was basically loose, but luckily for him, the tires were tight and he's able to continue on. As the run continued on, a driver was moving up to the field was Alex Bowman, who was really fast in the early portion, but he didn't get a chance to get up there because a caution came out lap 132 for Harrison Burton, who got tapped by Eric Jones going to turn number one. Eric Jones just sent him in the corner, got him loose, bringing out the first caution for incident in the race. And a couple guys decided to stay on, play strategy. Ross Chastain, Harrison Burton, J.J. Ely all decided to stay out, with Ross Chastain being the main guy who stayed out. Meanwhile, Ryan Preece actually won the race off pit road, and Todd Gillen gained a ton of positions because he took two tires. But a bunch of people would get speeding penalties on pit road. Ryan Preece would get a pass-through penalty for a speeding violation on pit road, going from leading the race to the back. Bubba Wallace and Martin Truex Jr. would also get speeding penalties on pit road as well, which is unfortunate, meaning Daniel Suarez will be the race leader of the guys that came off pit road. So then on the restart, you had Ross Chastain lead the field to the inside with Daniel Suarez on the outside, and you saw Ross Chastain get a really strong run and was able to clear for the race lead. Then, a few laps later, we saw Daniel Suarez basically try to get around Ross Chastain, but Todd Gillen sent it 3 wide to the bottom, is able to get up to second position as drivers started falling back and going through. And then eventually, with about 10 or 15 laps to go, Kevin Harvick actually jumped up to second position, getting around everybody, and started catching Ross Chastain. With about 15 laps to go in stage 2, he would pass Ross Chastain, and coming off the corner end of stage number 2, Kevin Harvick would win stage number 2. Then all the lap cars would come down pit road, with Chase Briscoe being able to gain a position off pit road and winning the race off of pit road. So then on the next restart, Chase Briscoe lead the field from the inside with Brad Sosky on the outside, and Chase Briscoe is able to clear for the race lead. Then Kevin Harvick got a really strong run and was able to get up to second position. And then at this point, you basically had a top 3 running away from the field, where you had Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe, and Denny Hamlin in no particular order, all running away while the rest leaders were starting to basically pull away. Then, later in the run, we saw some great racing happening. Actually, on lap 277, as the race went green for a long time with Chase Briscoe dominating, you had Kyle Busch and Corey LaJoie have some contact multiple times on the racetrack. Kyle Busch not very happy with Corey LaJoie, and they basically had retaliation out on the racetrack. And then, while Denny Hamlin actually got the lead on around lap 250, lap 254, I should say, he had contact with Bubba Wallace on the racetrack as well. Bubba Wallace, who basically drives for Denny Hamlin, there was contact there, and it was kind of surprising to see that, but there was contact there. And then, we saw green flag pit stops, how long the run had been. And Ryan Blaney making an early pit stop first. Then you had a couple guys come in early as well. Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. Then a few laps later, we saw Denny Hamlin come down pit road before hitting race traffic. And Kevin Harvick actually had a better pit stop and actually got around Denny Hamlin. But then a little later, he was going to come through and Kevin Harvick was going to have the lead. Then, with 99 laps to go, a caution that would change everything for Anthony Alfredo, who had a tire come off the track. It took NASCAR 2 or 3 laps. I have no understanding why it took him that long to throw the caution for that. But nonetheless, the caution would come out for that, and that would change everything. Then we had some strategy where some guys basically came down pit road. Daniel Suarez, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., Anthony Alfredo, Bubba Wallace, a couple other guys stayed out on that there. And also, unfortunately, Todd Gillen lost a cylinder. So because of that, you had 3 guys, I believe, stayed out, that being Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, all stayed out. Actually, Denny Hamlin came to pit road, I should say. So then on the restart, Chase Briscoe lead the field on the inside, with Kyle Larson on the outside, and Chase Briscoe was able to clear for the race lead and started to pull away. And then he got a massive lead and started getting there. Meanwhile, during basically side-by-side commercials with 6-7 laps to go, Raj Chastain and Ryan Preece almost wrecked after Chastain tried to move Ryan Preece out of the way after Ryan Preece got into Raj Chastain. And while it looked like it was going to be easy win for Chase Briscoe, though, the caution would come out with 55 or 56 laps to go, or actually 59 laps to go, I should say, for J.J. Gilley, who had a brake lockup and went straight in the outside wall, bringing out the final caution of this race. Then we saw a little strategy after that. Glad to see J.J. okay, by the way. But to bring out the caution, and we saw a little strategy. Joey Logano, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, and Enrique Santos Jr. all stayed out while the wrestlers came down pit road. And Cliff Daniels to make a great strategy call, sending Kyle Larson first off of pit road. And then, while it looked like it was going to be Kevin Harvick was going to have a shot to win today, he basically had a tire go down after his pit stop. It just completely broke apart the rim for some reason. And basically, Kevin Harvick came down pit road due to that, taking him out of contention for the win of this race. So with 45 laps to go in this race, you had Joey Logano lead the field from the inside with Eric Almirola on the outside, and we saw Joey Logano get a great restart after Eric Almirola had a terrible restart and able to clear for the race lead. Then we had William Byron radio to the crew that he was having a vibration on his car, but was able to continue on. They thought it was an engine issue for William Byron. And then with about 35 laps to go, Kyle Larson actually got around Eric Almirola and Denny Hamlin to get up to second position and was charging after Joey Logano. We saw some really great side-by-side racing between both Joey Logano and Kyle Larson for the race lead. Logano was getting good run off the corner, but Logano was getting good run on the inside as well. They were side-by-side, and with 30 laps to go, Kyle Larson would eventually make the pass on Joey Logano for the race lead. And we saw some great racing happening there behind Kyle Larson, but it would not matter. And coming off the corner, after taking a lead with 30 laps to go, Kyle Larson comes off the corner and picks up his second win of the 2023 season, his first career win at Martinsville, and his 21st career NASCAR Cup Series victory, putting 38th on the all-time wins list. As a Kyle Larson fan, I am very, very happy right now. Kyle Larson definitely did not have the fastest car for sure. The strategy call of taking 2 tires definitely got him out there and got him the win, but he played the strategy call right. And with how the tires were really not falling off, it was going to be really tough to beat Kyle Larson. Mark Truex Jr. got up there. We'll talk about him in a second. But nonetheless, Kyle Larson, a well-deserved victory in my opinion. Yes, because of strategy, but a well-deserved victory nonetheless. Picking up his second victory in 2023. I think Kyle Larson is definitely a championship contender this year. He looks really strong this year, and a big win for Kyle Larson. Congratulations to Kyle Larson on getting his first Martinsville victory. He has said publicly that he's not a big fan of Martinsville. Good to see he finally has gotten the victory here at Martinsville. Congratulations to Kyle Larson. He definitely deserves it. So now we'll go ahead and look at the race results of today's race, and then I'll give you my score of today's race. So Kyle Larson picks up the victory. Joey Logano finishes second. Great run for Joey Logano, considering he was terrible in the beginning of this race. In fact, Logano never really got up to 30th until basically was up to 30th only like 100 laps in the race. But luckily for him, he got some timed yellows, got back up there because of that caution come out for Anthony Alfredo, and bounced back to get a great top 2 finish. Great run for Joey Logano. Mark Truex Jr. finished third. Truex qualified really well today, but fell back and went down a lap at one point in this race, but they were able to get benefited from that caution as well, and they still recovered a third place finish. Great run for Mark Truex Jr. in third place. That's his first top 5 finish 2023, and probably had the fastest car near the end of the race. Unfortunately, just didn't have enough time to get up there, but nonetheless, great run for Martin Truex Jr. Denny Hamlin finishes 4th. Denny Hamlin definitely had one of the fastest cars in this race, especially on the long run. It's a shame that he kind of got trapped back there. Very difficult to pass, but nonetheless, a great day for Denny Hamlin in 4th place. I think that's also his first top 5 finish this season, so great run for Denny Hamlin. Chase Briscoe finishes 5th. Chase Briscoe is probably going to potentially win that race if not for that caution coming out. A great day for Chase Briscoe. Led a ton of laps, led over 100 laps today. Most laps he's led in his NASCAR Cup Series career in a single race. So a fantastic run for Chase Briscoe in 5th. Eric Almirola finishes 6th. Eric Almirola ran top 10 all day long. The Stewart-Haas racing cars were extremely strong today, and Eric Almirola was a contender for the win at points throughout this race. He ran very well, fell back at points, but also came back in the front, and a great 6th place finish. Good run for Eric Almirola, a much-needed confidence booster for that 10 team. Ryan Blaney finishes 7th. Ryan Blaney struggled a lot of the day. He probably had about a 10th or 13th place car most of the day. I thought Ryan Blaney was going to be a little more of a factor, but nonetheless, a very solid top 10 run for Ryan Blaney in 7th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes 8th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been quietly having a pretty good season so far. He's had a lot of top 10s and a lot of top 15s. That's his second straight top 10 finish in a row. Stenhouse has been having a good year so far. He's only had one finish outside the top 25 this year, and just way better this year in 2023 than he was last year. Great run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Bubba Wallace finishes 9th. That's Bubba's first top 10 finish, I believe, since Las Vegas earlier in the year. That's only his second top 10 finish of the year. Bubba had a top 10 car, got that speeding penalty, unfortunately, kind of set him back, went a lap down at one point, but a great recovery for Bubba Wallace to finish in the top 10. Very solid run, a good confidence booster for that team. And how about Chase Elliott finishing 10th? You know, this is a race where Chase Elliott was returning, and he did not great in the beginning of the race, but his car was one of the fastest cars near the end of that race. I think he took 4 tires, and the car just seemed really good there, especially with the sun being out and stuff, because they're a big concern for the rain, not to mention. But for Chase Elliott to come back and finish 10th, a great run for Chase on his return. Of course, like I said, this was his return race. They were advertising it. I wasn't expecting him to win, but to get a top 10 finish nonetheless, he should be really happy about that. After turning, he finishes 10th. Good run for Chase Elliott. Alex Bowman finished 11th. Bowman was really good early in the race. The car just didn't seem as good as the farther we got into the run, but a great run for Alex Bowman in 11th position. Solid run nonetheless. 11th place for Alex Bowman. Austin Dillon finishes 12th. Austin Dillon was terrible most of the day, so great comeback for Austin Dillon. Salvaging what was going to be a pretty bad day for that number 3 team. He finishes 12th. Ross Chastain finishes 13th. Chastain led some laps, nearly won a stage. I think he finished 6th. Did get some pretty important points today by playing that strategy early. Never really had a car that was going to contend for the win. Probably had about a 15th place car most of the day, but nonetheless, he finishes 13th. Chris Buescher finishes 14th. Buescher had a speeding penalty as well, was up front early. It's a shame he never really completely recovered, but a solid top 15 run nonetheless. Ryan Preece finishes 15th. That finish is not going to show how fast that 41 car was today. Ryan Preece probably had one of the best cars in this race for sure. In my opinion, probably the best car all day long until that speeding penalty happened. I think he was going to win this race or at least be a contender for the win today. This is the best of Ryan Preece's form all season long. It's a shame he got a speeding penalty. He made that mistake, and with how track position was key, it was going to be really hard to get back up there. But still, a solid recovery for Ryan Preece, but he's definitely going to be disappointed with that 15th place finish. Christian Bell finishes 16th. Chris Bell, non-factor all day, struggled all day long. Kind of surprised by that. I thought Bell was going to be a pretty big factor. He finishes 16th. Daniel Suarez finishes 17th. Daniel Suarez had a really good car early in the race. I think he unfortunately got trapped a lap down, sadly, and that kind of cost him a shot. He finishes 17th. Ty Gibbs finishes 18th. Another consistent top 20 finish. Not a bad run for Ty Gibbs. Michael McDowell finishes 19th. Not a bad run for him. And Kevin Harvick finishes 20th. I think Kevin Harvick, near the end of this race, had the best car. He was probably a car that was going to contend for the win, had 4 fresh tires. That tire issue cost him a shot at the win. He unfortunately finished 20th. Tough break for him because Kevin Harvick was going to be a driver going up against Kyle Larson for that victory. Kyle Busch finished 21st. Kyle Busch struggled all day long. He had a speeding penalty, very hard to pass, couldn't get up there. Sadly finished 21st. Just not a good run for Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch recently especially has not been good at this track. It's a shame because Kyle Busch I thought was going to be a factor and just is not good all weekend long. He finishes 21st. Tyler Reddick finished 22nd. Tyler Reddick, I think, got trapped a lap down, unfortunately. Reddick was really good early in the race. I think he might have got a penalty on pit road or something because he had a car that easily could have finished top 5, just fell back near the end. William Byron finished 23rd. Probably the biggest surprise and biggest disappointment. William Byron was never a factor all day. He probably had a 10th place car at best today. That 24 car just struggled all day long. And they were complaining about that engine issue, like I mentioned. He sadly finishes 23rd. Brad Keselowski finishes 24th. Man, tough break for Brad Keselowski. He got caught basically a lap down due to basically that issue where he came down for a 1 lap earlier, and that completely cost him a shot at this win because he was going to be a contender for the win in this race. If not for that, he had a top 5 or top 6 car a lot of this day. Sadly finished 24th. Tough break for him. Todd Gilliland finished 25th. Unfortunately, fell down a cylinder. It's a shame because Todd Gilliland was having the best run he's had all year so far. Was contending for a top 5. In fact, up to second at one point. Still, though, it's a shame, but he finishes 25th. Corey LaJoie finishes in 26th. 27th for AJ Allmendinger. 28th for Justin Hilliard. 29th for Harrison Burton. 30th position for Noah Gragson. 31st for Eric Jones, who struggled all day long. Ty Dillon finishes 32nd. That is Ty Dillon. Believe now, Ty Dillon's 7th finish outside the top 30. What a shame. Austin Cindric finishes 33rd. Cindric struggled all weekend long. terrible. Finishes 33rd, just off the pace and off speed. Never had a shot to contend. Zane Smith finishes 34th, of course, substituting for Cody Ward due to reasons I'm not going to get into. Anthony Alfredo finishes in 35th, and Jay Gilly finishes last in 36th. So now let's talk about the overall race as a whole. I'll give you my score of today's race. Honestly, this race in Martinsville, while it's not as good as races for 2021, this race is overall not a bad race, all things considered. Yes, it was very difficult to pass, and shifting is still a really big issue, and I think they need to figure out a way to get that shifting taken care of. But when we got into long green flag runs especially, the racing got really, really good. The track widened out. There was a lot of side-by-side racing. Yes, like I said, it was very difficult to pass, but I still enjoyed it. You saw a lot of comers and goers throughout the field. Like I said, it was really hard to pass, but it still was a very enjoyable race. I think this is the best Martinsville race we've seen since the fall of 2021. I definitely enjoyed it. I saw a lot of people complaining on social media, and I didn't think it was fantastic, but the race got better as it went on. You had a lot of great side-by-side battles, especially Larson and Logano battling. You had Briscoe and Hamlin battling there for about 5 or 6 laps. That was really entertaining, and I thought this Martinsville race was pretty solid overall. Not every single NASCAR race is going to be a barn burner. So for me, my score of today's Cup race at Martinsville overall, I'm going to give this race overall a 7 out of 10. For Martinsville standards, I want to see a little bit better, but it's still a very solid race overall, and definitely a pretty positive NASCAR race for me. I'm going to give this race overall a 7 out of 10. So that is for today's NASCAR race review from Martinsville. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Notifications on so you know if I win a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links go down below with that, and comment your thoughts below on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race at Martinsville? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below, and congratulate Kyle Larson on picking up a second victory of the 2023 season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, there should be a NASCAR news video on the channel as well. There should be the NASCAR Xfinity Series picks coming out for the upcoming race at Talladega as well. Then on Tuesday, will be race picks for the NASCAR Cup race at Talladega, followed by maybe something special on the channel that might come out, or maybe a NASCAR news video if something major breaks. Then Wednesday, will be a NASCAR news video on the channel. And then Thursday, I've got a pretty special video that I might be working on here that you should probably tune into. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and awesome content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.